On a quiet afternoon in April 1980, Charles and Catherine Romer pulled their black Lincoln Continental into the parking lot of a Holiday Inn in Brunswick, Georgia. The sun was dipping low, casting a warm glow over the familiar sign that had welcomed them on countless trips before. It was a routine stop on their journey back to Scarsdale, New York, after months of basking in Miami's winter sun. They checked in at 3:51 p.m., carried their bags and Catherine's beloved potted plants into their room, and settled in for what should have been an uneventful night. But the next morning, their room stood silent, their belongings untouched, and the Romers were gone. What began as a puzzling absence would spiral into one of southern Georgia's most enduring mysteries, a case that defied explanation for over 4 decades. A life of comfort and connection. Charles Robert Romer was born on August 27, 1906, in Cincinnati, Ohio, the eldest of 4 children to John and Mabel Romer. Raised in New York, he carved out a distinguished career in the oil industry, rising to an executive position at Sinclair Oil Corporation. Known for his intelligence and tenacity, Charles married Jane O'Shea on May 7, 1929, in New Rochelle. Together they raised 2 sons, Charles Jr. and Richard, and built a life filled with equestrian events, lively parties, and a second home in Miami, where they escaped New York's harsh winters. Jane's death in 1973, at age 65, left Charles a widower, but fate soon brought him back to an old friend. Catherine Blanchfield Heller Romer entered the world on July 20, 1902, in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, the second of 6 children, to Thomas and Mary Blanchfield. In 1925, while working as a stenographer, she met Frank Heller, a wealthy businessman 13 years her senior. Frank presided over Raymond and Heller, a carpet manufacturing firm, and chaired several real estate companies. They wed on March 29, 1926, settled in Scarsdale, and welcomed a son, Frank Jr. Catherine thrived in social circles, sharing Frank's passion for horses and hosting gatherings. When Frank passed away in 1965, she managed his estate with sharp acumen, proving her resilience. In 1974, Charles and Catherine, both widowed and bonded by shared interests, rekindled their friendship into romance. They married on December 3rd and moved into an apartment building Catherine owned in Scarsdale. Each winter they fled to Miami, returning north in spring along a well-worn route. The winter of 1980 was no different until it was. The night vanished. On April 8, 1980, the Romers arrived at the Brunswick Holiday Inn, a stop they knew well. A guest saw them that evening standing in their doorway, chatting with a couple and their small dog, a fleeting glimpse of normalcy. But when the housekeeper knocked the next morning, silence greeted her. She entered to find the room frozen in time, clothes hung in the closet, a bottle of scotch and 2 empty glasses sat on one nightstand. A novel and glasses rested on another. Catherine's potted plants lined the floor, and Charles' journal and tax forms lay scattered on the desk. It was as if they stepped out for a moment, yet they never returned. The Romers had booked the room for one night and hadn't checked out. It wasn't until 2 days later, when the same housekeeper returned, that the stillness struck her as wrong. The room was unchanged, the couple still absent. She alerted the hotel staff, who contacted the Glynn County Police Department. Something was terribly amiss. A search that shook southern Georgia. The police found approximately $500,000 worth of jewelry in the room, though some pieces, a platinum ring with an emerald-cut diamond and 3 pairs of earrings worth $150,000, were missing, likely worn by Catherine. Charles' wallet, holding $400 to $500, Catherine's purse, and their Lincoln Continental were also gone. The last family contact had been on April 6th when Charles called Charles Jr. to wish him a happy Easter. Phone records showed a call to their Scarsdale housekeeper at 4:17 p.m. on April 8th, promising a return in 2 days. Then, nothing. Sightings trickled in. A Georgia state trooper reported seeing their car, license plate Kia CBR, heading south toward Florida around 5 p.m. on April 8th. 40 miles from the hotel. Another trooper spotted it parked near a strip mall south of Brunswick that evening. Jim Wilson, a local contractor, claimed he'd spoken with the roamers on Jekyll Island, 20 miles away, discussing fishing as they mingled with another couple. Charles Jr. dismissed this, insisting his parents would detour after a long drive. They'd be tired, he said. Something happened at the hotel, maybe in the parking lot. The Glynn County Police and FBI launched what one officer called the biggest all-out search in the history of southern Georgia. Brunswick, a peninsula hemmed by water, suggested a grim possibility. The roamers' car might have plunged into a river or marsh. Helicopters buzzed overhead. Divers plunged into murky depths, and four-wheel drive vehicles scoured the county's 400 square miles of coastline, marshland, and timber. Yet every effort came up empty. Captain F.D. Andrews speculated that jewelry thieves from Miami might have trailed them, ambushing them in their room. These people hang around resorts and watch tourists, he noted. But the untouched jewelry in Orderly Room undermined this theory. We have not a shred of evidence, Andrews admitted in July 1980. There's no crime to investigate. Lieutenant R.J. Smiley echoed the frustration. I've never seen anything like this. There's no law against being missing. The case went cold, leaving only questions. A family. This relentless hope. The roamers, children, Charles Jr., Richard, and Frank Jr. were consumed by worry. They always called Charles Jr., said. This isn't like them. They hired the Wackenhut Detective Agency, a globally renowned firm, for a 3-month investigation. A hotel guest reportedly saw the roamers leave alone at 7 p.m. on April 8th, but efforts to find this witness, known only to be from Pennsylvania, failed. The agency, like the authorities, was stumped. Year after year, the siblings returned to Georgia, clinging to hope. I think about it daily, Charles Jr. said. We just want a clue. The absence gnawed at them, a wound deepened by uncertainty. Decades of doubt. The mystery lingered, haunting those who remembered. In 2004, volunteer diver George Baker, part of the original search, resumed efforts after a tip. A woman claimed her husband was run off the road by a black Lincoln on April 8, 1980, backed by a delivery ticket. Baker searched an undisclosed body of water, suspecting foul play, but found nothing. Charles and Catherine were declared legally dead in 1985, yet their fate remained unknown. Richard died in 1992, Frank Jr. in 2001, and Charles Jr. in 2007, never learning the truth. Their 7 granddaughters kept the vigil, lighting a candle each anniversary. In 2023, Adventures with Purpose, an Oregon-based dive team, searched without success. The roamers' story seemed destined to remain a riddle until 2024. The truth unearthed. In late November 2024, a tip guided Sunshine State Sonar, a private dive team, to a retention pond near the Holiday Inn. Advanced sonar, unavailable in 1980, revealed a submerged car. The pond was drained, and there it was, the roamers, Lincoln Continental, deteriorating but intact, holding skeletal remains and items bearing their initials, jewelry, belongings, proof of identity. Mike Sullivan, who runs Sunshine State Sonar with his brother John Martin, pieced it together. It looks like they were parking at the diner, and accidentally backed into the lake. The headlights faced the shore. He must have had it in reverse and hit the gas by mistake. The pond, just 100 yards from their room, had been searched before, but older technology missed. What seemed like foul play was a heartbreaking accident. Rest at last. The Romer family statement captured their bittersweet relief. We are deeply saddened and equally relieved that our grandparents' 44-year mystery has been solved. While this brings closure, it's been very emotional. Sadly, Charles Jr., Jim, and Frank are not here to share this. We were grateful to Glynn County Police, the Georgia Bureau of Investigation, and Sunshine State Sonar, and especially to Jason Serrata of Myrtle Beach, who pinpointed the location. After decades of speculation, Charles and Catherine Romer could finally be laid to rest. Their story, once a tangle of theories, resolved into a simple tragedy, a testament to how truth can hide in plain sight, waiting for time and technology to bring it to light.